Russia nears Pokrovsk, Ukraine's supply lifeline in peril. Ukraine's insurgent into Kursk Oblast fails to thwart Russia's advancement towards Pokrovsk. The loss of this key city could have far-reaching consequences for the entire Ukrainian front in Donbas as Russian forces continue their rapid advance toward Pokrovsk. Now, just over 10 kilometers from this critical logistical hub in Ukraine's Donbas Oblast, concerns are growing over the town's potential loss. One issue for the public is the lack of clarity about why Pokrovsk is seen as different from any other lost settlement in the Donbas. To fully grasp the current situation, prognosis, and risks associated with the potential loss of Pokrovsk, we need to step back from the tactical level and shift our focus slightly eastward, starting with Avdiivka. Before falling to Russian forces in February 2024, the Avdiivka area played a key role for Ukrainian troops for nearly a decade, serving as a fortress that secured vital logistical routes in the Donetsk Oblast. It was also seen as a potential foothold for future Ukrainian efforts to deoccupy Donetsk. Unsurprisingly, since 2022, Russia has committed substantial resources to capture Avdiivka, raising questions about whether the heavy losses incurred were justified even among Russians. The goal of the operation was not merely to capture Avdiivka itself, but to gain access to the operational space behind it. Once Avdiivka was secured, it provided the Russians with multiple options and maneuverability. This is a key aspect because if we examine the war theater solely from a tactical standpoint, focusing on individual tree lines or single settlements, we may miss the broader operational objectives of the enemy and the potential consequences for Ukraine if these objectives are achieved. The backbone of Ukraine's logistics in Donetsk Oblast is under threat. Pokrovsk, a town with a pre-war population of 60,000, is situated west of Avdiivka at a crucial crossroads of multiple railroad lines. It has become a key delivery and railroad distribution hub, facilitating the supply of Ukrainian forces across a broad front line, from Volodar to the north of Donetsk and beyond. Currently, only two places in the Donbas serve this vital function: Pokrovsk and Kramatorsk. The significance of the location and length of the supply line becomes clear when viewed on a map. When assessing the situation, we should remember that Russia doesn't need to capture Pokrovsk to gain control over the railroad. Mere proximity to the town enables Russian forces to target trains and vehicles with artillery, mortars, and drones, effectively rendering the railroad hub unusable. It's highly likely that train operations in the town have already been suspended due to these risks. The potential loss of Pokrovsk poses a serious operational threat to the logistics of the entire region, disrupting supply lines from Volodar in the south to Horlivka in the north. The loss of both the road and railroad would exacerbate the situation for Ukrainian forces in the Donbas, leading to the potential loss of Kurakovy, Volodar, and areas both south and north of Toretsk. Another significant concern is the political aspect. Pokrovsk is located just over 20 kilometers from the administrative border of Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Given that Russian forces re-entered Kharkiv Oblast from the north in May 2024, there is little reason to believe that Putin plans to halt at the administrative borders of the Donetsk and Luhansk Oblasts. Starting from July, the rate of Russian advancement in this region has accelerated, allowing them to bypass multiple defensive lines that Ukraine hastily constructed after the fall of Avdiivka. The Finnish OSINT group Black Bird has mapped Ukrainian defenses visible through satellite imagery, helping to visualize the situation. As seen on their map, Russian forces have moved beyond several defensive positions, and with the full control of Avdiivka, only one defensive line remains before reaching the outskirts of Pokrovsk itself. Satellite imagery analysis of the seized positions shows evidence of artillery shelling and bombing, though not as extensive as in other frontline areas. This likely suggests that Ukrainian troops in the Pokrovsk direction were forced to retreat multiple times, lacking sufficient forces and resources to mount an organized defense. While there have been many discussions and concerns about the lack of fortifications behind Avdiivka, which are entirely valid, the major issue remains the shortage of available manpower and units to defend those positions. No matter how well constructed or numerous the defenses are, if they are only staffed at 10 to 20% of their required capacity, it's unsurprising that Russian forces are able to overrun them so quickly.